Tonight, flu season surge.
It's important to stay vigilant. It is strongly recommended that they do get that vaccine.
Local cases rising well ahead of last year's pace. Plus, office space available.
There's not enough business to warrant an investment.
London's downtown vacancy rate increasing. And a blockbuster deal ahead of the deadline.
A lot of emotions, both good and bad, I'd say.
The London Knights send two key players to their rivals in Kitchener.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a message from local health officials who say they've been caught off guard by the early flu season. The latest health unit numbers show local cases 10 times higher than they were at this time last year. Sean Irvin reports.
At this newly opened independent pharmacy, customers are said to be looking for anything they can find to ease flu symptoms.
What is it that they come in with?
Runny nose, headaches, feeling very out of it. They're just very tired. They don't want to get out of bed.
It's a trend impacting on doctors' offices, walk-in clinics, and local healthcare facilities. In London, a level 2 outbreak is in effect for a portion of Victoria Hospital.
I think the influenza activity we're seeing this year is taking place earlier than it is most years, and that is what is surprising most folks.
With over 1,000 cases reported in the second half of 2025, the Middlesex London Health Unit is urging the public to take precautions, even as cases fell slightly in the most recent week recorded. The risk of person-to-person transmissions at holiday gatherings was not fully factored into those numbers.
It's important to stay vigilant now, and particularly with the increased cases of influenza. And so for individuals who have not yet received their influenza vaccines, it is strongly recommended that they do get that vaccine.
Dr. Lamb acknowledges this year's version of the vaccine, produced based on last year's flu strains, does not protect against all subvariants. But he and other health experts strongly repeat that it is the best option to protect yourself. Most seniors and parents with children are eager to roll up their sleeves.
It's a tougher sell in the younger crowd, but once you explain to them the benefits versus the risk, they're willing to take it.
15 people in London have died from the flu in the last 4 months. That's compared to 0 during the same period in 2024. Again, the early arrival of the virus is to blame. But that does not necessarily mean it is about to disappear early.
And we're expecting the number of cases to continue to be elevated in January.
Well, flu season runs until April, so even if it's the highest peak now because of family gatherings, it still could happen later on. It's better to be protected for the entire season.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
A new report on downtown office space shows London maintaining its position with the highest vacancy rate in the country. Brian Bicknell has more on the numbers and whether there's any indication the trend will reverse.
50 years in business downtown, and Dan Hassan has never seen foot traffic so low since people left the office and went home to work.
We used to buy here 60, 80 suits a season to put on the rack. Now we do custom only. There's not enough business to warrant an investment.
According to CBRE, downtown office space in the last quarter of 2025 was up slightly at 31.5%, the highest of any urban downtown in the country. But it appears to be stabilizing, according to CBRE VP and broker Greg Harris.
At this moment in time, that's the positive, and that it should lead to better things in the future. We shouldn't see any more large shocks to the market and see any large groups vacating.
Harris also points out that much of downtown's available office space is older, making it less attractive. However, Mayor Josh Morgan says a number of office to residential conversion projects will help vacancies trend in the right direction.
And so this is not going to be a linear approach here. There's going to be some ups and downs to it. But what I'm very happy to see is that programs like the office to residential conversion program seem to be working in the quarters where we're getting traction. And that's why we put more money in that program, so that we can see more applications come forward. which will help us make improvements in the future.
The Doug Ford government ordered public sector employees back to the office as of January 1st. And according to CBRE, a number of the larger private employers downtown are taking similar action. That's expected to breathe more life into the core. But for this men's shop, the return may be too late. Owner Dan Hassan is about to retire, and he hasn't been able to find anyone to take over.
I've dealt with 2 people who were interested, but it's going to be difficult because they have to see the potential, and right now it's hard to see.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
The city's planning committee has extended a lifeline for a high-rise project that could alter London's skyline. As Daryl Newcomb reports, the ambitious mixed-use tower had been deemed too tall by city staff.
This unused parking lot at York and Colburn might be transformed into one of London's tallest buildings, if the project can overcome a number of hurdles. A planning application proposing a 38-story mixed-use building with over 400 residential units was considered by the Planning and Environment Committee on Tuesday. City staff recommend refusing the rezoning for a number of reasons. Most notably, the residential building's proximity to exhaust from the London District Energy Plant and the proposed building's height.
It's a vacant parking lot right now by train tracks. Across the street, there are high-rises, 25-story plus buildings. So what's the appropriate height here?
And while this location might feel like it's on the edge of the downtown core where the highest density development is permitted, in fact, this property is classified as an urban corridor place type, which means a maximum height of 15 stories.
This is exactly why the Planning Committee and Council as a whole has discretion, because official plans will have gaps in them where something doesn't quite make sense on an individual property here or there.
A motion by the Deputy Mayor recommended referring the matter back to staff for further discussions with the developer about finding a path to approve the project. A revised application expected back in front of the Planning Committee before the end of June.
Have a discussion about what's maybe an appropriate middle ground between the 15 that's allowed in the plan versus the 38 that the applicant asked for, when we do recognize 45 is allowed right across the street.
Natural gas fumes that are coming out their stack, that wasn't there when those apartment buildings were built across the street. So that has to be considered now.
Council will consider the referral at its meeting on January 20th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. Another mild day across southwestern Ontario. 2 degrees, our daytime high today. That's where we're sitting right now. The wind out of the southwest, about 10 kilometers per hour. As you can see, that system that brought the rain and freezing rain yesterday is well off to the east coast. We are checking the next weather maker that will also bring rainfall and mild conditions. As a result, the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority has issued a waterway rising bulletin. This is because our streams and rivers are elevated. The runoff from the rainfall and the melting snow is causing that. Now use extreme caution near all the waterways. Don't drive through flooded roadways. The floodwaters are going to spill into low-lying floodplain areas. Coming up in your full forecast, I'll tell you why this has been issued in terms of more rainfall and double-digit daytime highs that are in our forecast. That's coming up a little later in the show. Carlyle?
Rita, thanks very much. OPP say one person was killed in a crash at the Blue Water Bridge this morning. Police say it happened at the toll booths around 8 a.m., causing lengthy traffic delays. According to police, a 60-year-old from London was pronounced dead at the scene. They have not indicated whether any charges will be laid. A recording was played today in court at the manslaughter trial for a woman accused of causing the death of a toddler in her care. Nick Paparella has more on the conversation between that woman and the boy's father.
In the months after 15-month-old Nathaniel McClellan died, with no arrests or charges laid, the toddler's father, Kent, decided to go to the home with the child's babysitter, Megan Van Hoof, to secretly record a conversation, saying, "I wanted to see her. I wanted to see what happened." The recording was played in court, and you can hear Van Hoof initially say, "I'm sorry, and I would love to talk to you, but when I was interrogated for manslaughter, it was time to get a lawyer." She continues, I'm in a spot here where I don't know if I'm supposed to talk to you. When asked about what happened to Nathaniel at her home daycare on that October day in 2015, she is heard saying, I don't really have much to say, other than he wasn't himself that day, and he collapsed, as in fainted. McClellan told the court he felt Van Hoof had lied during the interaction, and at the end of the 21-minute recording, he says, I just want to know what happened to him. We dropped off a healthy boy. You don't just die. In court, he said, I felt like a failure as a father. If I had just tried and did more, we might not end up in this situation. Nathaniel had been rushed to hospital in Strathroy with a severe brain injury, and McClellan would eventually send Van Hoof a photo of his child hooked up to medical devices from his hospital bed, saying, I wanted her to feel my pain. Days later, Nathaniel was taken off life supports, and an emotional McClellan said, Nate was very strong. I said to him that he could go. It was okay. I wouldn't let his death affect his brother's lives. Police would investigate the death for years before charging Van Hoof with manslaughter. She has pled not guilty. During cross-examination from the defense, McClellan was questioned about the recording with Van Hoof, and he said, I would say I was not satisfied with the conversation. His testimony resumes on Thursday. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
London police say they need help locating a man wanted on human trafficking charges. Police released this image of a man they say is 39-year-old Matthew Joseph McMahon. They say from September to October 2024, McMahon forced a woman he knew into sex work. He now faces several charges, including trafficking and benefiting from sexual services. American Homeland Security officials say a woman was killed in a shooting today in Minnesota, which involved U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents.
No! Shame! Shame! Oh my God!
Homeland Security officials say an ICE agent shot the unidentified woman in her car, accused of trying to run over the agent.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle.
The Minneapolis mayor is disputing that interpretation, though, saying the self-defense justification can't be supported.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is.
The mayor is now demanding all ICE agents leave the city. U.S. authorities say they've seized 2 container ships carrying Venezuelan oil in the North Atlantic. One of them, a Russian-flagged vessel. With the latest on those tensions, here's Joy Malvin.
Dramatic pictures posted by the Trump administration show the U.S. Coast Guard boarding a Russian-flagged oil tanker after chasing it in the North Atlantic for 2 weeks and risking a conflict with the Kremlin. Moscow officials angrily called the U.S. seizure outright piracy. Another vessel captured in the Caribbean, U.S. forces seen rappelling onto the deck of an empty vessel called the Sophia. Both ships accused of violating U.S. sanctions after the Trump administration ordered a blockade of Venezuelan oil, capturing its president Nicolas Maduro in a daring raid, accusing him of operating a narco-terrorist regime.
So our military is prepared to continue this. As he said, the president, when he speaks, he means it. He's not messing around.
It comes as President Donald Trump says he's in charge of Venezuela and will control its oil, posting the country will turn over 30 to 50 million barrels of oil to the U.S. The administration claims it has tremendous leverage to force the socialist government to become an ally.
We're going to sell it in the marketplace at market rates, not at the discounts Venezuela was getting. That money will then be handled in such a way that we will control how it is dispersed in a way that benefits the Venezuelan people, not corruption, not the regime.
After a classified briefing, several lawmakers are critical of Trump's attempt to reshape the world order.
This is an insane plan. They are talking about stealing the Venezuelan oil
at gunpoint.
I am totally dissatisfied about their answers of going into other countries.
The Trump administration intends to oversee the sale of Venezuela's oil indefinitely as President Trump plans to meet with major U.S. oil executives Friday about restarting drilling in Venezuela. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Meanwhile, White House officials are threatening to send troops to Greenland, an act that would test the NATO alliance. President Trump claims the territory is needed for security reasons. With more on Greenland's strategic significance, here's Judy Trin.
Greenland's vast expanse contains valuable, untapped natural resources. U.S. President Donald Trump covets the territory in the name of national security.
He views it in the best interest of the United States to deter Russian and Chinese aggression in the Arctic region. And so that's why his team is currently talking about what a potential purchase would look like.
The White House has not set a price. It prefers to acquire Greenland through diplomacy, but will not rule out using military force. Greenlanders like Inuit activist Aju Peter fear Trump will attack her birthplace, like he did in Venezuela.
It startled me. Some time ago, I didn't take it seriously. But now seeing what the President of the United States can do, it's a real threat.
The semi-autonomous Danish territory is home to 56,000 people, protected by NATO.
If the Americans attack or try to annex Greenland, Denmark will have to invoke Article 5 in NATO that says the NATO countries have to come and help us against that attack. The Americans would, of course, veto that, and then NATO would be finished.
Greenland shares a border with Canada on Hans Island in the Arctic Ocean. Now both have faced American threats of annexation.
We stand with Denmark, we stand with Greenland. Our closest partnership is with the United States, and we'll work with everybody to make sure that we move forward together.
The Prime Minister says Canadian forces can protect the Arctic from Russian and Chinese threats. What the military alliance can't do is protect member nations from an ally. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Municipal officials in Saugeen Shores are introducing pre-approved housing designs in an attempt at getting more homes built. With more on the project and its potential impact, here's Scott Miller.
One of the fastest growing municipalities in Ontario is offering free, pre-approved housing designs to try and spur the development of low-rise rental housing in their communities.
So what we've done is, with the help of the Housing Accelerator Fund and some funding from Bruce Power, we've developed these ready-to-build housing designs. So we have 3 designs that we've developed with some partners, 4 designs for additional dwelling units and 3 designs for higher density type units. So that's duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes.
The initiative offers a catalog of 14 pre-approved housing designs. Builders and the property owners would still need other approvals to build, but their pre-designed homes are meant to match Saugeen Shores' current subdivisions while ultimately speeding up the approvals process.
All we're really doing here is taking one step out of the process, the design of the building itself. You got a floor plan, you got something you can take to somebody to lay out that site, take to the building department to get approval. So you don't have to do that. So yeah, I mean, it speeds up the process with that regard. It takes a bit of cost away from somebody looking to build an additional dwelling unit or a triplex or a duplex.
60 additional dwelling units have been built in Saugeen Shores in the past couple years, but there's room for many, many more as Saugeen Shores tries to increase the mix of low-rise rental options in their fast-growing communities of Port Elgin and Southampton.
We've doubled the number of purpose-built rental units in Saugeen Shores just in the last 2 or 3 years, over 600 of them built. So we're making good progress on this, but no doubt, no question that we need more diversity in our housing stock.
Now, the initiative just launched in mid-December, but Charbonneau says they've already had plenty of interest and would be happy to share their free designs with any municipality or landowner or builder in Ontario.
We're glad to, frankly, share them with whoever needs them to make sure we're building the housing we need, not only in Saugeen Shores, but across Bruce County and right across Ontario.
In Saugeen Shores, Scott Miller, CTV News.
When we come back, a blockbuster trade. The London Knights shipped their captain to Kitchener. Details on the deal coming up in the tee-up. Plus, the potential development plan for a downtown parking lot that includes removing toxic tar.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Well, welcome back. It's the Tee-Up with Brent Lail. And Brent, we're starting with the London Knights and a blockbuster trade with their rivals, the Kitchener Rangers.
Yeah, the Knights have shipped their captains, Sam O'Reilly and defenseman Jared Woolley, to the Rangers in exchange for 10 draft picks over the next 4 years, as well as 17-year-old Jacob Joux.
I made a decision for the hockey club. You know, our main goal is always to win a championship. And, you know, London Knights, that's our thoughts. It's not about winning one round, 2 rounds. We want to win a championship. So it was something that we thought was best for the organization.
For the first time since 2018, Knights GM Mark Hunter is sending major players out in an OHL trade rather than loading up. After deep playoff runs each of the past few seasons, he says the cupboard is getting bare when it comes to draft capital. O'Reilly, who just won a bronze for Canada at the World Juniors, will go to the Rangers with his good friend and realized this wasn't the year to win it all for the Knights.
I was worried about our scoring. You know, you've seen some games that we couldn't put the puck in the net. We had a hard time scoring some goals. I mean, the last 3 years, we've had close to 300 goals, 4. We're going to end up with like 225. And it's tough to win a championship with that low of goals. Not saying you can't, but it's tougher. It was a tough decision because of quality kids these two men are, and it's something that, you know what, it was not a good day.
Both O'Reilly and Woolley said their goodbyes to their teammates in London this morning and left for Kitchener. They arrived this afternoon to meet their new coaches and teammates.
Got the news right after the tournament was over, and obviously sad coming from a place that I've been there for 4 years now, so. A lot of amazing people that I've met and will always still talk to when I get older. So, but obviously excited to get here and kick along.
There's a lot of emotions, both good and bad. I'd say not bad in a negative way. Coming here, it is a sad day, but an exciting day at the same time.
All right, Brenda, local high school boys basketball team are in the running for an OFSA championship.
Yeah, the Mother Teresa Spartans finished runners-up last year at the provincial tournament, and this year they believe they can finish the job. The Spartans are off to a great start with 3 tournament victories already and just 2 losses on the year. Their latest title came this past weekend when they won the prestigious Purple and White tournament at Western with a 76-70 win over Barry Maple Ridge in the final. Point guard Jacob Brown and wing player Isaiah Slay were named tournament all-stars.
First, the coaching, it's amazing, so that's number one. And then we play with pace and we have great defense. The goal is to get the gold this year. Like last year, some of the guys returning, we know the silver, and it hurt, but we're trying to get gold this year, and we have it at home, so we have an advantage this time.
I'd say we're more fast and stronger, play together better. We have a deep roster, lots of talent, good start, playing fast, still building, getting better, a lot more to do.
A pair of local track stars were recognized for their outstanding seasons.
Yeah, Athletics Ontario has named Jackson McKay and Julia Tunks as their under-20 male and female athletes of the year. McKay won his second straight under-20 decathlon with a record 7,652 points at the Canadian Championships. He won 9 of the 10 events, capping off a wild year which included 3 OFSA gold medals, and then he turned to football where he won the OUA Rookie of the Year. As for Julia Tunks, at age 18, she broke the Canadian discus record and won the Canadian Championship before competing in her first Worlds in September.
And there's also a new indoor baseball facility now open here in London.
Yeah, former Blue Jays minor leaguer Harry Muir has opened a new facility called The Cage on Adelaide Street.
We have 4 hitting tunnels. We have 2 hack attacks, premier pitching machines. We got areas for pitchers to pitch. We got soft toss.
Muir, the general manager of the Chatham-Kent Barnstormers in the newly named Canadian Baseball League, has finally fulfilled his lifelong dream of being a baseball guy full-time. His goal is to fill the need for a facility for ball players who aren't part of an elite program.
It really just shows that the baseball community in London's growing. You know, with the Jays going on that postseason run, it's probably anticipated that there's going to be more and more kids that are wanting to go and get into baseball. And there's always a need for people to get working in the off season or rainy days.
This is allowing me to do baseball full time now. You know, I'll be here all winter. I go to CK for the summer. I have, I have college in the fall. I'm doing baseball 12 months a year, but it's fantastic.
And one more note, Carlyle, a major sporting event is coming to the Forest City this summer. The World University Rowing Championships will be held in August, bringing more than 20 countries worth of athletes to London. And what a wild day with the Knights making that big trade.
Big changes for sure. That's the tee-up. Thanks very much, Brent. And Rita's on the desk with me now. Rita, a bit of weather whiplash almost with the way things are trending after a cold transition into the new year. We're quickly getting almost into spring-like conditions, it feels like.
You got it. You're getting spring and fall and winter all within a week, right?
It feels that way, yeah.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, a bit of a January thaw. 2 degrees, our daytime high today. We are sitting above what's normal for this time of year, which is -2. Now, the record 9 degrees in 1998, and we might actually flirt with that record on Friday as temperatures will climb ahead of the next weather maker. As we head into the night, we're ranging anywhere between the freezing mark in Mount Forest to 5 degrees down in Windsor. Again, this isn't normal for us this time of year. It's all thanks to a low pressure system that moved in yesterday, and along the warm front boundaries, we saw our temperatures climb. We're holding on to that warmth as we speak. The good news is we are drying out for tonight. Few clouds heading into your Thursday. We are expecting to stay dry right up until tomorrow around 9 p.m. Another big system pushes in from the south. You can see it starts off as rainfall and will dip into that moisture after midnight here in London. Overnight into Friday morning, some embedded thunderstorm activity is possible, and further to the north, you will be dealing with snow. So this system will also bump up our temperatures, and as you heard earlier, we do have that water level rising issued by the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority because we're getting more rain, and of course the mild temperatures are thawing the snow that we've had here in London and for parts of Midwestern Ontario. So tonight, periods of drizzle coming to an end, and then we're going to hover around the 1 degree mark under mainly cloudy conditions overnight. Tonight, the winds out of the south 10 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow, we'll wake up, that mild air will start building. By about 4 p.m., we'll hit our daytime high around 6 degrees for your Thursday, so another day of above seasonal conditions right across southwestern Ontario. We could see breaks of sunshine around noon tomorrow, and we'll take it because, of course, it's been quite gray and overcast for today. Now, Friday, again, bulk of that system moves in late day Thursday into Friday morning, just in time for your Friday morning commute, actually, especially with the heavier rainfall between 6 and 8 a.m. The temperature forecast to hit 11 degrees here in London on Friday. That's about 12 to 13 degrees above where we're supposed to be. We will tumble back down, but it will not be until Sunday. Saturday will feature some more rainfall and then a temperature drop to seasonal values on Sunday with flurries returning, and then at the freezing mark Monday and Tuesday with more light snow next Wednesday. Midwestern Ontario, similar conditions in store for you. Mild for the next 2 days. That late day rain pushing in a little earlier for you tomorrow around 9-10 p.m. And then overnight into Friday, we'll have heavier rainfall, some embedded thunderstorms possible as well. And then keep in mind that with this system, we will see those temperatures climb. That thaw will start to occur, and then we'll drop right back down. That will cause a risk for some wind gusts to start developing Sunday. And with that light snowfall, that melting rain, we could see some freezing areas. Heading into Monday, mix of sun and cloud, which is great news, right around seasonal. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, snowfall and some flurries. So as we mentioned, Carlyle, a little bit of everything for everyone. I don't like the rainfall. I want it to be consistent at least so we can go and enjoy the slopes or something. I don't know about you.
Winter, make up your mind.
Right?
We're both on the same page there. Rita, thanks very much. Still ahead, promising prospects. We look at some of the most in-demand jobs and heading into 2026.
We are now less than a month away from the 2026 Winter Olympics. We cannot wait. However, we do have a few suggestions. I think there are a few sports that need to make a comeback from the year 1900. All the details tomorrow morning at 8:15.
A Canadian recruiting company has released a list of jobs considered most in demand for 2026. The list includes a range of positions from healthcare to sales, even forklift operators. Matt Gilmore reports.
A new year and fresh prospects for young Canadians looking to enter the workforce.
Well, they're actually frontline operational roles, a lot of them, and they're really focused on human connection and front-facing relationship building.
According to Randstad, the top 5 jobs companies will be looking to fill in 2026 are sales associate, administrative assistant, customer service representative, accounting technician, and receptionist. Nancy D'Onofrio says most of the jobs on the list are entry to mid-level, but with AI, they're evolving.
I think there's a lot of discussion as well that AI is replacing roles, but if you look at these roles that are very human focused and relationship based, they're actually elevating these roles.
Healthcare is another area where D'Onofrio says there will be job opportunities in 2026. Nurses, pharmacy technicians, and dental assistants are also in the top 15 most in-demand jobs.
We're obviously seeing a huge shortage in healthcare because there's a lot of retirements that are happening as well.
Perhaps most surprisingly, forklift operator has squeezed into the top 15 this year. D'Onofrio says that's due to the rise of e-commerce and demand on supply chains. Going forward, she expects even more opportunities in logistics and construction.
By 2027, there's going to be a shortage of 172,000 workers.
Most of the jobs on the list pay an average of between $50,000 and $70,000 per year. Economist Moshe Lander says that's a decent starting point for young Canadians, but still low compared to Canada's cost of living.
Is that going to get you an affordable cost of living? And most Canadians at $50,000 to $60,000 are going to say, no, it won't.
That's why he says it's important to look for jobs with opportunities for growth.
If it's merely something to pass the time between 9 and 5, Monday to Friday, it's going to be really hard to get those above inflation wages because your productivity is just going to stagger.
Food for thought for the many young Canadians preparing to enter the job market, nervous about their chances of getting ahead. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Tim Hortons has signed a partnership with the Canadian Olympic Committee. It's an 8-year deal, along with a similar agreement with the Canadian Paralympic Committee for 3 years. The partnership will provide Canadian athletes, coaches, and their families Tim Hortons coffee when they compete in Italy next month. According to Tim Hortons officials, each time a Canadian wins a gold medal, special offers will go out to members of the Tim's loyalty program. Board members at Warner Brothers Discovery have unanimously rejected a hostile takeover bid by Paramount Skydance, saying the $108 billion offer amounts to a risky leveraged buyout. They say Paramount's financing plan would saddle the company with nearly $90 billion in debt once the acquisition closes, the largest leveraged buyout in history. Both Paramount and Netflix have been pursuing their own acquisitions, and today's announcement keeps the Netflix deal in the pole position. Canada's main stock index was down today because of losses in the industrial and basic materials sectors. The TSX dropped 271 points. In New York, the Dow was off 466. The Nasdaq saw a slight gain. The Canadian dollar down about 1/5 cent. On commodities, gold fell about $33 an ounce. Oil shed $1.14 a barrel. Coming up, the search for a donor. A southwestern Ontario man takes his plea public in need of a new kidney. Welcome back. A municipal parking lot could soon be decontaminated, cleaning up toxic coal tar that dates back to the 1800s. Daryl Newcomb has more on the price tag and the potential for future housing development.
This is where they tested for the coal tar on this side.
This white PVC pipe beside Gladys McCarty's backyard makes her question just how far the toxic contamination beneath this municipal parking lot across the street has migrated over the decades.
I haven't heard what the results were or nothing.
And how many years ago was that?
Over 10 years ago.
A new report to City Council details the coal tar contamination beneath a pair of parking lots at Horton and Rideout. In 2024, Mayor Josh Morgan ordered the examination of municipal parking lots for possible sale and redevelopment into housing that would include affordable units. The coal tar contamination was a significant concern for several developers that formally expressed interest because the city would, quote, offer these parking lot sites as is, with respondents responsible for preparing the land for redevelopment. So the new report identifies some incentive programs plus a special reserve fund specifically intended for remediating the site.
There is $89 million in the current fund. The current estimated costs of cleanup of that site are about $60 million, so there's a bit of a buffer there for unforeseen circumstances.
The source of the contamination dates back over a century. Between 1853 and 1939, city streetlights were powered by a coal gasification plant that included a storage pond here at the corner of Horton and Rideout. City staff recommend launching a negotiated request for proposals before the end of March. It would accept bids from developers and include a back and forth with city staff about the complex nature of the redevelopment.
What we're going to have an opportunity to do here is to take a stranded asset that is just a parking lot and turn it into parking that Londoners need, clean up a contaminated site with some of the resources we have, and ultimately put some more housing in our downtown core.
Now they want to put huge housing blocks in here.
As for McCarty, she's not thrilled about a high-rise going up across the street, nor the impacts of the coal tar that lies below.
If it's that bad over there and they have to clean it up, how far over this way does it go?
Council's Strategic Priorities and Policy Committee will consider the update about redeveloping the parking lots on January 13th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is heading to China next week. He's expected to discuss trade and security, the first such visit for a Canadian PM in nearly a decade. With more, here's Annie Bergeron-Oliver.
After years of tense relations, a change appears to be brewing as Prime Minister Mark Carney gets set to try and address thorny trade issues in Beijing with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
No doubt there are going to be challenges and that, the two countries won't see eye to eye on everything, but there are some common and shared interests.
Next week's visit will be the first by a Canadian Prime Minister in nearly a decade, and the first since China arrested and eventually released Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor in retaliation for Canada's detention of Huawei's Meng Wanzhou. One of the biggest flashpoints that's expected to come up, tariffs. Canada imposed a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles in 2024, a move met by China, who implemented a punishing 100% tariff on canola oil and a 25% tariff on certain pork, fish, and seafood products.
We hope that there'd be tariffs, removed immediately. But as I say, this, history has said that the removal of those tariffs does take some time.
But while this three-day trip is being viewed as a relationship reset, experts say Canada has to be cautious not to trigger any alarm bells in Washington, with negotiations on the North American trade deal set to begin later this year.
If we are seen to go too far down the path of befriending China, we know who in Washington is going to be irritated by that.
But while tariffs are expected to loom large, the Prime Minister's office says energy, agriculture, and international security are all up for discussion. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Lego has unveiled the toy company's first ever so-called smart brick.
And I can engage these two in battle. And you can see the registration here on this brick.
Company officials say the new brick contains a chip and a speaker, allowing it to interact with whatever design it's a part of. They call it the company's biggest innovation ever, showcasing it at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Fan reaction has been somewhat underwhelming, though.
Hold on. So you can...
Thanks to our viewer Amy for sending in tonight's weather snapshot. Parts of the region saw peaks of sunshine today, but everyone felt the mild spell. Our temperatures above the freezing mark for today and warming up to possible double-digit daytime highs for Thursday. And we're also not done with the rain in January. More showers are on the way for Friday.
A southwestern Ontario man is waiting for a kidney transplant, something that can take years. As Stephanie Mazzotti reports, he's now taking matters into his own hands to find a match.
In need of a kidney, blood type A positive?
Dwight Hesman is trying something different after being diagnosed with kidney failure 3 years ago.
Very scary, very frustrating.
He is advertising his plight and reaching out to the public for help.
It's a slow process.
6 months ago, he decided to take action, attempting to increase his chances of getting a living kidney donor by publicly listing his phone number on multiple vehicles across Windsor, Essex. He says he's received half a dozen inquiries since.
Just the fact that somebody would entertain the idea of actually, being interested in doing this it's mind-blowing.
Some friends and family are also spreading the word, attaching the same magnets on their vehicles. Hesman tells CTV News he is on a wait list for a deceased donor, which would help extend a recipient's life by approximately 5 years. A living donor would increase his lifespan by about 15 years. He's also calling on the provincial government to pass the Peter Cormos Memorial Act. The bill proposes to make organ and tissue donation a procedure to opt out of rather than the current system where a donor needs to opt in.
Well, there's a definite need.
For more information on organ donation or to speak directly with Hesman, head to ctvnewswindsor.ca. Stephanie Mazzotti, CTV.
Novo Nordisk Canada officials say they're considering competing with generic versions of their Ozempic and Wegovy drugs by introducing lower-priced versions of the medications. Health Canada approved the company's submissions on December 22nd. Experts say the generic drugs likely won't be approved for at least a few months. Health Canada officials say evaluating the drugs is a complex process because Novo Nordisk's products were developed using biological processes, while the generic versions are made using chemicals. Recent data on Canadian worker happiness shows a downward trend toward the end of 2025. And as Maria Saru reports, coming back from the holidays can be daunting in the rush to catch up.
Office doors swing open and supply boxes are carried in. For some workers, this first week back on the job isn't exactly slow and steady.
It feels like there's a sprint when we return to work.
According to the newest numbers from ADP Canada's Happiness at Work Index, just under a third of employees took all their vacation time in 2025. And those who did take a week off reported spending nearly 17 extra hours on average prepping or catching up. Workplace experts call that a time-off tax, adding when employees are worried about the pileup, it's harder to really switch off.
You don't get the same kind of refresh, and you don't come back re-energized and ready to take on what comes at you in the new calendar year.
ADP Canada's Heather Haslam adds there's lots leaders can do to role model and encourage healthier habits.
Making sure that there's backup, making sure that there's adequate documentation for policies, doing some cross-training.
And for employees, the new year offers an opportunity to set better boundaries.
Our personalities have this guilt. Rest is a 4-letter word, but we don't realize that being productive and engaged and doing better at our job requires it.
The strain can show up in worker sentiment. In December, the country's workforce happiness score was 6.8 out of 10, down slightly from November. Atlantic Canada came in just above that at 6.9, but fell more sharply from 7.5. As people filter in and out of office buildings like this one, workers across the Atlantic provinces report better work-life balance, but they can carry a heavier time-off tax. So the advice from experts this week is to ramp up rather than race. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Tomorrow, this to me is the future. The Made in Canada machine built to swim, climb, and cut through snow and ice. Why the disaster relief group says this will revolutionize rescues. We've got one and I want more. Tomorrow on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Finally tonight, a Quebec man keeping his backyard rink in tip-top shape. He's gone to greater lengths than just hosing down the ice, though. As Dave Charbonneau reports, he's built his own Zamboni from scratch.
And in 2010, I decided to start doing a skating rink on the lake.
For Chris Flynn, building a rink on Long Lake in Mayo, Quebec, northeast of Gatineau, has been a labor of love for more than a decade. But keeping the ice smooth wasn't always easy. Until now.
The last year, year or two, Stefan has helped me to take it to another level.
That next level came from his neighbor, Stéphane Dehaye, and a machine he built by hand.
What we like about it, it's the same shape as a real Zamboni.
The project started with old equipment and a lot of problem solving.
I had an old lawnmower machine, and I stopped from there.
The homemade Zamboni uses hot water, just like the real thing, making a big difference. The result? Smooth, glistening ice.
We're able to use hot water, which cures and repairs the ice better than cold water.
The machine even rolls out between periods, turning a pickup game into something straight out of an arena.
So it's everyone's true dream. In between periods, this miniature Zamboni came and did the rink.
The video of that moment has now gone viral, but for Dehaye, the payoff is much simpler.
It's a lot of work to maintain the rink on the lake, but every time we got people using it, it's a reward for us.
A homemade Zamboni, a backyard rink, and a neighborhood project that shows just how far Canadians will go for the love of the game. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.